Hello everyone, I'm Nick from nextstepnick.com and today we're going to talk a bit about Carrion. So Carrion you've probably heard of from a couple of the Devolver Digital shows not too long ago. Looks kind of interesting. The whole premise is that you're playing as the bad guy and it does that kind of well. It makes you kind of think of an amalgamation between something like The Thing meets Alien. You escape from this lab and then you're moving around in this really satisfying way using these tendrils of muscle as you make your way around, eating people, devouring scientists, and basically being the bad guy. And it's really cool. You kind of find out a little bit about the story as well, but we'll get to that. It's not incredibly story rich, to be honest. It's more just about the sort of being the bad guy. It does a lot of things well. I like the movement system. I like the fact that you grow as well when you eat people and where you sort of take over different areas. You start to see the way in which you're influencing it and destroying stuff. It feels very cathartic in that way. I like the fact that the world itself is kind of a bit futuristic but also a little bit decrepit. You unlock powers as time goes on as well, so you're having to solve these puzzles using different powers. Some enemies, for example, are really hard to catch, so you're going to have to use powers to get them because they might have like a shield that stops you or maybe a flamethrower or something like that. So you have to think about the way you approach each room. And for the most part, the game is kind of a puzzler. A lot of it is going around pulling levers and stuff like that. It feels really good when you're fighting against other people. It feels really nice when you're sort of terrorising civilians. But there are things I think could be done better here. It's very short. You'll finish it pretty quickly. A few hours is all you really need. And the plot isn't really there. You get to play as the humans sometimes to kind of find out how things happened. And yeah, it's not that interesting. It's a little bit boring and a little bit slow when it comes to those human elements. The actual carrion elements as well. It feels fun at first when you first tear apart like a scientist or the first time you eat someone, but then over time as you start to get more powers you just realise that you're not actually getting a chance to be this horrible monster. Most of the time you're solving puzzles, and those puzzles usually constitute, okay, you need to get through this area, but you need to be a small version of yourself to get through. So you'll see at the top of the screen I've got like a life bar and then another life bar. So basically when you're in the large size you can't use certain powers and you also can't get through certain areas. You have to like use that power to pull a switch, for example. So what you need to do is basically deposit some of your biomass, then go back, then go and do the puzzle, then come back, then pick up the biomass, then keep going. So a lot of the puzzles tend to be, oh, you need a power that you can't use at your current size. So you go away, you deposit yourself in some water, you come back, get yourself back, then you move on. And that tends to be it. Likewise with the enemies with, for example, shields and stuff like that, you're meant to really use tactics to get them, otherwise they absolutely wreck you. But a lot of those tactics just contribute, open the door quite quickly without them knowing, or just shoot a web through a grate. There doesn't seem to be a huge amount of puzzling here. I see what it's trying to do, and I do like puzzle games. I just feel like it's not really what you expect of a title like this, What you really want is kind of absolute power. You want basically the Rampage effect, if you remember Rampage. You want to be a big monster, causing chaos, people are afraid of you. Very much, the thing I was hoping for was something similar to the Predator mode in when you're playing the Dark Knight games, where you're playing as Batman. And it's that whole thing of them being terrified of you and running away. And it's not really that. It's an interesting puzzler that will take you maybe a few hours, I would say. It's okay. It's worth it because it's on the Game Pass, but I wouldn't shell out like £15 or £20 for this. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you have enjoyed this. Head to nextstepnick.com for all the latest articles, or join me on Twitch by searching for nextstepnick on Twitch. I'll see you there.